Good evening to all movie enthusiasts. Today, our film is called X-Men Apocalypse, and it tells the story of a team of extraordinary mutants who have the ability to transform into powerful superheroes. However, they face a threat from an ancient mutant called Apocalypse, who seeks to control all mutants. Let's dive into the details. The film begins in the year 3600 BC, in the land of Egypt, specifically near the three pyramids next to the Sphinx. At that time, there was an aging pharaoh who sought a mutant with the power of rapid healing and the ability to transfer his consciousness and awareness. We witness this process in the film, but there is a group that wants to kill the pharaoh. They set a trap and wait for the operation to begin, attempting to bury the pharaoh and the mutants inside the pyramid. There was one devoted guardian who tried to protect the pharaoh's soul. She could teleport and safeguard him from the collapsing structure. She sacrificed herself, dying under a massive rock, but managed to preserve the pharaoh's spirit until it could transfer to a new body. The story then jumps to the 1980s, where we meet a mutant named Mystique who infiltrates a mutant fighting arena. Two mutants are battling there, one with wings, capable of flight, and the other with the power of invisibility and super speed. The rule of the arena is that no one can leave unless one of them wins and kills the other. If they refuse to fight and instead unite against the guards armed with weapons, they will all perish instantly. Mystique's mission is to free the two mutants and escape from the iron cage, particularly focused on the one with the power of invisibility. She effortlessly defeats the guards and manages to escape with him. Next, we encounter our ghostly character, Magneto, who decides to abandon his old identity and escape from the world. He creates a new persona for himself and chooses to live alone in a city in Poland. However, will Magneto be able to live peacefully, or will he become a devil among the mutants? Returning to Egypt, we witness a powerful hero known as the Beast of Africa and the Middle East. We go to our beloved country, Egypt, specifically to the city of Cairo. There, a doctor named Moira is on an exploratory trip, searching for anything that could help her work or her journey into the world of mutants. Moira stumbles upon a group of people performing ancient Egyptian rituals amidst the rocks. She is captivated by their passion and desires to know the outcome of their actions. Little does she know that the pharaoh who had been buried beneath the pyramid has awakened, transferring his consciousness and awareness to a young man whose body automatically regenerates and rapidly heals from any harm or injury. When the pharaoh rises, a tremendous commotion ensues, causing people to flee the area, sensing an earthquake-like disturbance. We then return to Magneto, who is working in his factory. However, an accident occurs, and a massive piece of metal is about to fall on one of the workers. In a heroic act, Magneto, using his extraordinary power, prevents the iron from falling, saving the worker's life. This act reveals Magneto's immense power to the other workers, and they realize that he is one of the mutants. The workers inform the authorities about Magneto, which leads to his escape. This is due to a previous incident where Magneto unintentionally killed a large number of policemen. In a flashback, we see Magneto with his daughter and wife, fleeing from the police. In a moment of panic, Magneto asks them to take his daughter and wife and leave him behind. However, a peculiar incident occurs in that place. One of the police officers who witnessed Magneto's display of power in Cairo was a mutant himself. His name was Moira McTaggart, and he had the ability to manipulate energy and generate powerful force fields. Moira was fascinated by what she saw and became determined to find and recruit mutants for a cause she believed in. Years later, Moira established a research facility called the Xavier Institute for Higher Learning, named after its founder, Professor Charles Xavier. The institute served as a haven for mutants, a place where they could learn to control their powers and work towards a peaceful coexistence with humans. Meanwhile, Professor Xavier, a powerful telepath, had been tirelessly searching for mutants around the world. He believed in a peaceful approach and sought to use his abilities to bridge the gap between mutants and humans. With the help of his trusted ally, Hank McCoy, also known as Beast, Professor Xavier developed a device called Cerebro. Cerebro allowed him to amplify his telepathic powers and locate mutants on a global scale. During one of his searches, Professor Xavier discovered a powerful mutant named Jean Grey. She possessed immense telekinetic and telepathic abilities, making her one of the most powerful mutants he had ever encountered. Recognizing her potential, Professor Xavier invited Jean to join his institute and become a member of the X-Men, a team of mutants dedicated to protecting both mutant and humankind. As the X-Men trained and honed their powers, they faced numerous threats. One such threat was the emergence of a powerful ancient mutant known as Apocalypse. Awakening after thousands of years, Apocalypse sought to cleanse the world of weakness and establish a new order with mutants at the top. Apocalypse began recruiting other mutants to serve as his four horsemen, granting them enhanced powers and manipulating their beliefs. Among his recruits was Eric Lensher, also known as Magneto, who had become disillusioned with humanity after enduring personal tragedies. With the world on the brink of destruction, the X-Men, led by Professor Xavier, rallied together to stop Apocalypse and his 4 horsemen. The team included Cyclops, a mutant with the ability to emit powerful optic blasts, Storm, who could control weather patterns, Mystique, a shapeshifter skilled in espionage, and many others, each with their unique powers and skills. The battle between the X-Men and Apocalypse's forces was intense and destructive, with both sides unleashing their powers in an epic clash. Lives were lost, sacrifices were made, but in the end, the X-Men prevailed, thwarting Apocalypse's plans and saving the world from annihilation. However, the battle took its toll, leaving scars on both the physical and emotional level. The X-Men faced the aftermath, rebuilding what was lost and finding hope in the face of adversity. Their fight for peace and acceptance continued, knowing that the world would always need its protectors in a universe full of extraordinary beings. And thus, the story of X-Men Apocalypse came to a close, marking another chapter in the ongoing saga of mutants and their struggle for understanding and coexistence with the rest of humanity. And the Pharaoh, a working man who roams the world and recruits whomever he pleases. And also at that time, he meets a hero named Psylocke, and this hero, Psylocke, the Pharaoh gave her a great power from his own power, so her power becomes tremendous and destructive just like his. Then the Pharaoh encounters someone with huge wings, and he enhances his own power as well, making his wings out of protective iron capable of crushing rocks in an instant. Meanwhile, Magneto was heading to the factory where he was working. At that time, he had evil intentions and planned to kill everyone there because they had informed on him. He arrives there and locks all the factory doors to prevent anyone from escaping or interfering. Then he confronts them and tells them that he will turn them into roasted potatoes because of what they did to him. Each one of them becomes terrified to the point that their pants are soaked with fear. But at that moment, the Pharaoh arrives. He comes because of Magneto, wanting to recruit him and make him part of his forces. Due to everything that has happened to Magneto throughout his life, he decides to change sides and join the Pharaoh, embracing evil. The Pharaoh decides to reward him and kills all the workers present in the factory within minutes, seeking revenge for what happened to Magneto. Additionally, by extending his arms towards Magneto, he reveals that he possesses an incredibly immense power. This means that Magneto won't be able to stand in his way because the Pharaoh can control his mind at any time. Then we switch to a person named Peter, who was watching the news because of the troubles he caused in the previous part. He was shocked by the news published about him, but he didn't really care. Afterward, his mother comes to him and suddenly confesses that his father is Magneto, but Peter doesn't know that he has a son and doesn't know that Peter is his son. Peter is speechless and has a tense moment with his mother. Then Mystique decides to go to the professor to try to find a solution and bring Magneto back to them. After the events that have happened in his life recently and the deaths of his loved ones, they know that he will be like a raging fire that no one can stop. The professor reassures her and informs her that they will start conducting research to locate him. Suddenly, the professor and his team enter the room where they communicate with others remotely. Then the professor contacts Magneto and tells him that he must return to them and be with them after what happened to him recently. They won't abandon each other. Magneto replies, "I tried hard to live on my own, but the world didn't leave me alone. Everyone turned against me, and you've witnessed the consequences. No one can blame me for what I'm going to do now." At that moment, the Pharaoh was able to witness the conversation between the professor and Magneto and was greatly intrigued by the professor's superpower, which enables him to communicate with anyone in the world. He decides to take that power from him and control it. The Pharaoh enters the professor's mind and starts talking to everyone who follows him around the world, instead of traveling and wasting time. Moreover, using the professor's immense power, the Pharaoh gains access to all the missiles present worldwide, including nuclear missiles. He launches them all into space, causing fear and terror throughout the world. All the forces gather together to try to find a solution to this major disaster. At this point, the professor's power weakens, and he asks his team to quickly destroy the device so that the Pharaoh's control over the world can be severed. However, at that moment, a group of superheroes led by Captain Marvel arrive to confront the Pharaoh and put an end to his reign of terror. They included Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, Hulk, and Spider-Man. Together, they formed a formidable team, determined to stop the Pharaoh's destructive plans. A massive battle ensued between the superheroes and the Pharaoh's forces. The Pharaoh used his immense power and control over the elements to attack the heroes, while they fought back with their unique abilities and advanced technology. The clash of powers and epic fight scenes created a spectacle that captivated viewers. During the intense battle, the Pharaoh's true intentions were revealed. He sought to harness the power of an ancient artifact hidden within a mystical temple. This artifact possessed unimaginable power and could grant the pharaoh godlike abilities, enabling him to reshape the world according to his will. As the battle raged on, the heroes faced countless challenges and obstacles. They displayed exceptional teamwork and bravery, showcasing their individual strengths and skills. Each member of the team contributed to the fight, using their powers and intellect to overcome the pharaoh's relentless onslaught. Meanwhile, Sylek, the protagonist, confronted the pharaoh directly, using her own extraordinary powers. She tapped into her hidden potential and unleashed an incredible display of strength and determination. Sylek's unwavering resolve inspired the other heroes and instilled hope in their hearts. Despite the pharaoh's overwhelming power, the heroes refused to back down. They united their strengths, combining their abilities to launch a final assault against the pharaoh. Their coordinated attack weakened the pharaoh, leaving him vulnerable to defeat. In a climactic moment, Sylek delivered the decisive blow, using her immense power to immobilize the pharaoh and strip him of his abilities. The heroes, with the help of the artifact, sealed the pharaoh away, ensuring he could no longer threaten the world. With the pharaoh defeated, peace was restored, and the heroes emerged victorious. They were hailed as saviors and protectors of humanity, celebrated for their courage and selflessness. The movie ended with a sense of triumph, but also hinted at new adventures and challenges awaiting the heroes in the future. After that, Mystica and Peter managed to reach Magneto and tried to bring him back to their side. At that moment, Knight Speedster realized that he could enter the pyramid quickly and rescue Professor X before the transfer process was completed, thus saving him from certain death. The Pharaoh, on the other hand, had complete control over everything. Then they swiftly boarded the aircraft and managed to extract Professor X from the location before the Pharaoh could reach them again. Mystica and Peter used their powers to convince Magneto to join them once more, reminding him of the good times and the positive things they had accomplished together in the past. Afterward, the Pharaoh noticed that one of his team members had died, feeling like a failure because of this loss. Storm overheard the Pharaoh's words and began to understand that she was on the wrong side and should have been with Professor X's team. Then the Pharaoh established a mental connection with Professor X and realized that their minds were still linked, allowing him to take everything from the Professor and not leave him alone. Peter attempted to attack the Pharaoh, successfully striking him with his incredible speed. However, the Pharaoh managed to gain control over Peter and severely injured him. At that moment, Sylek approached them, and the Pharaoh ordered Sylek to decapitate Peter. However, Sylek betrayed the Pharaoh after realizing that she, too, represented evil, and she severed the Pharaoh's head instead. It was revealed then that Sylek was not actually Sylek but Mystica, who had disguised herself as Sylek to get close to the Pharaoh and eliminate him. Following that, a great battle took place between Professor X's team and the Pharaoh. At this moment, Professor X realized that their minds were still connected, and he entered the Pharaoh's mind, dealing a significant blow. However, the Pharaoh regained control and his power intensified greatly. At this point, the entire Pharaoh's team decided to join forces with Professor X's team, standing together against the Pharaoh. They attempted to fight the Pharaoh, but he had complete control over all of them, overpowering them with ease. Meanwhile, the Pharaoh was about to eliminate Professor X completely while they were inside each other's minds. Then, Jean Grey managed to enter both of their minds, following Professor X's command to unleash her immense power, greater than any other mutant's power. Jean unleashed her full power against the Pharaoh, burning him to ashes, finally putting an end to him and his evil. After that, Professor X regained his memories of Dr. Moira, rekindling their love, and they reunited once again. Both teams, Professor X's and the Pharaoh's, came together and returned to their school, resuming their development program to make it better than before and reunite all of them together. All the experienced mutant teachers at the school taught the students how to control their powers and use them only for good, under Professor X's supervision. And that's how the movie concludes.